Hey everybody, AD Jackson 330 here, and today I'm filming a tutorial on how to make a collage vellum divider for your traveler's notebook using digital art. So let's get started. The first thing you need to do is download the Silhouette software. No, you do not have to have the cutting machine for this to work, and yes, it is completely free for the basic version. I simply Googled Silhouette software download and clicked the first link, which brought me to the Silhouette website. I then chose the correct version of the software for my device and started the download. So this is the original divider I created that I'll be basing this tutorial off of. I used a lot of my favorite digital images from Shop Villa Beautiful, Fox and Pip, Grumpy Bear Sticker Co., Studio L2E, and the Honeybee Shop. When you open the Silhouette program, double check and make sure that the page layout is set to landscape so that it prints correctly for dividers. As you can see to the right of my desktop, I have all of the images already pulled over there for easy access. So next I am just going to drag and drop the images from my desktop to the Silhouette program. The next step is to select the trace tool from the toolbar, which looks kind of like a butterfly, and then choose Select Trace Area. You're going to drag a rectangle around the entirety of the images and then go to the threshold bar and increase it until the borders of the images are that very bright yellow. Next, you're going to click on Trace and Detach. That will separate the image from the white background, so all you have to do is click the white background, drag it over to make sure the actual image is still intact, and then click Delete. The rest of this step is pretty much just rinse and repeat. You'll continue to add as many of the images as you want, separate the backgrounds, and then drag the images over onto the paper area and design to your heart's desire. For my collage, I made sure to cover almost the entire paper area so that the pattern would cover the divider after I trimmed it to size. If you want to fill it with hundreds of tiny images or leave a lot of blank space, that's totally up to you. I'm pretty in love with the way that mine turned out with the mix of all the pretty planner-related images, but this technique can be used for all sorts of digital art. For those of you who are interested in purchasing some of the digitals that I've used for this project, I will link those shops in the description below, so be sure to check those out. Thanks to some wonderfully generous shop owners, a lot of these were actually free downloads that they'd made available in their Facebook groups or blogs. Villa Beautiful has monthly kits and includes digital papers and images that match the month's theme. The coffee mug doodle from Studio L2E was from a contest she held last year. The rest of the shops usually keep digital art in their shops pretty regularly. Just make sure that if you do download or purchase any digital artwork that you review their terms of use. Those are just basic guidelines created by the original artist as far as sharing, selling, or altering the files. To keep this video quick and to the point, I won't make you sit through watching me fill up this entire page, since you probably have the idea by now, so I'll switch back to the finished file for the original collage I made. Once you have your page filled up and all of the icons tilted and spaced just so, and you're happy with how it looks, then you're ready to print. Okay, so this is the vellum that I'll be using for this project. I just picked up a few single sheets of this kind from Hobby Lobby, but it is also available in a full pack. This particular one was 59 cents. It's by the Paper Studio, and it is parchment white vellum. If anyone is curious, this is a Canon Pixma, and I use it for all of my inserts, die cuts, regular printing nonsense, and now vellum. Printing on vellum is basically the same as printing on cardstock or regular printing paper. You just need to make sure that once you finish printing, you let the paper sit out so that it can dry completely. If you don't, then you could smudge the ink and completely ruin the image and a perfectly good sheet of vellum. I also suggest that immediately after it comes out of the printer, you lay it on a flat surface and place something on the corners of the sheet. I just used a few rolls of washi to hold them down while it dries because the corners may curl up if you don't. Once your vellum is completely dry, you're ready to take the next step. We're going to be trimming it to size and then folding it so that we can take this gorgeous sheet of vellum to a gorgeous new divider for your traveler's notebook. So over here I have a divider from My Newest Addiction. It is pre-cut to fit in my B6 Foxy Fix TN. So if you do have one already made that you can use for reference, that's great. And if not, Google is your best friend. It can tell you the measurements that you'll need to work with. I also have a Sharpie permanent marker ultra fine point, which I'll be using to make marks on the paper to guide my cuts, and a bone folder, which will help me get a nice crisp edge whenever we fold the divider. And I'll be using this 12-inch Fiskars paper cutter. So I'm going to start by taking this pre-cut divider and flattening it out just a little bit right against the divider that we printed out. I'm just going to try and line it up to make sure that there's not just a huge area of blank space. So we're good on this side and this side. Got a little bit of the bottom and top sticking out, so it's about even. Then I'm going to take my Sharpie marker and just on all 4 edges, I'm going to take it and not directly on it, but just a little bit outside so that if some of the cuts do come out a little crazy, we can have room to fix those. So then I'll pull this up and you can see that all 4 of the corners are marked. So next I'm going to bring the paper cutter over and line them up. And because I didn't measure it out perfectly, the lines aren't going to match up exactly, but you can just kind of eyeball it and make sure that it's flush against this edge so you're getting a straight cut. All right, first cut made. And of course it took off most of the side ones, but I can still see a little. And we'll just keep doing the same thing, moving around the rectangle. And there we go. So now we have it trimmed down to size. Let's see how it matches up to our pre-cut divider. So that looks pretty even to me. There we go. I know it's a little bit hard to see with this background. So next we are going to fold it. Let's just match up the edges. Make your crease, and then this is where the bone folder really comes in handy because it'll make sure you get that really nice crisp edge. And then if you notice that some of the edges are a little bit off, which, okay, this one on the bottom is, then I pull out my smaller trimmer and just kind of take care of that because you don't want it to be wonky in your planner. Just trim off just the tiniest amount possible. You don't want it to be too small either. Let's see. And I by no means claim to be a perfectionist at this. This is the 3rd vellum divider I made, but I had a lot of really great feedback whenever I posted it on Instagram and on Facebook. So I thought I would put out a little tutorial for anyone else who is interested in making one of these. So now let's put it in a tin and see how it looks. Well, it may not be perfect, but it certainly is pretty. I did end up trimming just a little bit too much off of the edges, but hopefully you guys will learn from my mistake, and after all, practice does make perfect. Next time I will be sure to remember to leave a little bit extra on the border and measure twice, cut once. But this is not a waste at all. This can still be cut down, laminated, turned into a bookmark or a page marker, or even a divider for a smaller TN. So still a success, I think, and hopefully still a good tutorial. And that's it. Don't forget to check out the description below for shop links, and if you make one for yourself, tag me over on Instagram so I can see too. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye.